Hello everyone, welcome back. This week we've decided to change gears a little bit. This will not be your normal Captain of Industry video. We are on a new game. Guess I don't know how new it is, but it's new to me. It's called RoadCraft. I believe it's made by the same developers as like Spin Tires and SnowRunner and stuff like that. We are going to dive in and we're going to work through it. And we will see how far we can get here. This is our starting vehicle. From a little bit of playing that I've done, what I understand is you start with this vehicle and then you can buy vehicles and you can also find them throughout the map. The ones that you find throughout the map don't quite have the same specs as the one you buy, and they look rusty or old. So that's the incentive to buy the new ones. I have done a little bit of a playthrough, done some of these missions already just to kind of get a feel for the game. So I do kind of have an idea of what's going on and what needs to be done. But let's get into it for you guys. We are subcontracted to assist in reinforcing the shoreline of a phosphate plant. Alright, let's do it. When you guys start playing, if you start playing, you can watch the tutorial. I'm not going to because I've already been through it.
Hey there, the name's Kelly, and I'll be your friendly neighborhood dispatcher for today, and every day unless we screw something up. Then the company replaces us, like dead batteries. But until then, I'll be here to help as much as I can. Not that you need much help with your first task. You need to head to the lookout point and take in the general layout of that town on the coast. You're bracing for one hell of a storm. I suggest you get on with the agenda before the storm hits.
Okay, so let's do that. We'll head up to the lookout. This game, I guess, is cross-compatible. I am playing on PC, so all of the instructions down there are PC-based. So parking brake is spacebar, and then we're off. Vehicles are automatic. You do have low gear, all-wheel drive, and differential lock. So we hit tab to bring up our objectives and F to track it. And that's the location that it wants me to get to. But as you can see, we can't see that on the map. We can't see it on the map because we haven't been there yet. Now this is kind of like open world. You can go anywhere you want to go. You can get stuck. I could drive off that cliff if I wanted to. The vehicle has a winch point in the front and the rear. Not all vehicles have those though. Not every vehicle has a winch. So you kind of want to be mindful of the situations you get yourself into and make sure you have the equipment to get in and out of it, or you'll have to recover your vehicle.
Enjoying the sights? I often hear they're the best part of your job. At least your job has the best part. I have to make do with cheap coffee and a broken AC. Ready for your next mission?
Alright, quit complaining.
Aren't you lucky? Investigate the phosphate plant. Not too exciting, but who am I to argue, right? Go take a look.
A little bit. Okay. So these vehicles, this particular vehicle, is what they call a scout vehicle, and it's got a terrain scanner. That tells you the depth of the mud. So we'll get up here by this water that we have to cross. And then we'll hit that again. You see where yellow is a little bit deeper, red is obviously pretty deep. We're gonna all-wheel drive in the diff lock. We should not need low gear to get through here, not in this vehicle. Try and get that stuff to go away as quickly as possible. See, we're stuck, so we're going to winch ourselves over. Release that. We weren't. I don't think we were actually stuck. We were stuck on them rocks. You got to watch out for those. They're a real pain in the ass. So basically what that pop-up was telling us how to open the door. Just hook the winch to it and back the truck up. And then it opens up. This is the first vehicle we find. So to switch to that vehicle, you just hit the tab button on computer. It's different on console. I don't know what it is on console. I don't play console. Oh yeah, you gotta drive over to it. So we'll have to... None of this is working. Okay, so we'll track that objective. We gotta drive over there. Closer to the vehicle. Now we're close enough. It'll let us get in that vehicle.
Hey, you're not a bad navigator. To be fair, a child could handle it if they could reach the gas pedal. Still, you did fine too, so kudos to you. Now it's time to get you to your forward base. It's not much to look at, but should keep you warm. Oh, and on your way there, be a darling and clear the canceled entrance for the cavalry. They're coming later. If the higher-ups don't cut the funding.
I like to try and go back this way. Get around all this garbity gut. And then push it back the other way. Yep, just knocked down a tree. Apparently got myself stuck. So this thing's got a couple of different modes that you can use. The easiest to use is probably the sand flattening mode. It just lowers that down to a certain height, and then you can just push stuff out of your way. And pretty basically what you've got to do is just push everything out of the highlighted circle. Further out of your way you get it, the easier life will become. So I will generally push this up here and around the corner a little bit. And there, now it's out of our way. And when you back up, the blade automatically raises on this in sand flattening mode, which is part of the reason that it's so much easier to use. We'll just push this valve off over into the weeds. We're going to try and get this gate out of the way. We'll do that in just a minute. Actually, I don't think the gate is going to count against us, so yeah, no, it didn't. So now we need to go to the forward operating base, but we have... Now we've unlocked this vehicle and we have it. When we carry on to new missions and stuff, it'll automatically come with us. We'll go back to our objectives, and we'll want to track this one. And then we want to switch back to our other vehicle. But one of the things that I have learned about this particular mission, before you leave, you want to come over here and open these gates as well. This one right here. And you just drive through it. There. Now it's open. That'll make things easier in the future. Going Baja on here. Did I miss a turn? I think I might have. No, I did not. Okay. I think they're sending us to our forward operating base, which is good because that gives us another spot we can recover our vehicle to. So if you flip over or you get stuck and you can't get out or whatever, you can hold R, and that will pull up a recovery menu, and you can recover it to either your starting point or...
Welcome. The good news is you're in charge now. Bad news is the storage and allocation of resources are all on you. So, use them wisely. And remember, a penny saved is a penny earned. For the company. Well, on to your next job. Storm's rolling in, and we need to build a flood wall before it does. Before it rolls in, I mean. Storms seldom build walls. First, we need to plot a route from the base to the phosphate plant. Once we do that, we can deliver the crane parts to make the wall.
Anyway, you hold R, and we'll show you here. Now that I have another spot unlocked, those blue squares are where you can recover to. So I can recover to the forward base or the recovery area, which is where we started. If I should get stuck or flipped over or whatever. Now check out our objectives. So now it wants me to plot a route, and that is sometimes a real pain in the butt. We got to go from this point to this point. And it's always a good idea, so before I do that, I'm going to go drive this route. Any washouts,
Looks like we're gonna need a generator for
any
the
debris,
phosphate plant. There should be one somewhere close to the abandoned facility. Check your map. If you can find it, bring it back to the garage inside the abandoned facility.
anything. The NPC drivers or the AI drivers or whatever, they're not good. So you got to make sure the route's clear, because if they get stuck on anything or stuck on each other or whatever, they will not complete the route, and then you'll have to go back and fix it up, and it's just a pain. While I'm here, we're going to move this out of the way. Put it right over here for now. Alright, now we will plot the route. And so you just basically you mark the route that you want the NPC or AI drivers to follow with different points. All the way to the destination location. And then you have to dispatch the vehicles. Typically they send 3, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 1. But either way, all of the vehicles have to make it all the way through the route before you'll get the reward for your objective. You can get in here and spectate. Hit F and you go to a normal view. And then just kind of ride along with them. Gives you a first-hand view of if they run into any trouble, where the trouble is, what the trouble is, which will give you a pretty good idea of what you got to do to fix it. We should not have any trouble on this route, being it's the first one that they have us do. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. They do get a lot more complicated. And there will be times where you have to have multiple routes going in the same on the same path, and if they run into each other, that will cause them to fail. So you can look back and see the other trucks following. I think in this convoy there's 3. Yep, so you'll see the last truck is kind of the one that marks everything as okay, and as it gets to each node, the path turns green. But if they fail up here, you don't have to worry about anything that's green. You just have to fix what's not. And then they disappear into that building. And there we go. That's done. And now it wants us to find a generator at the abandoned something or other. So let's go do that. Luckily, I've already done this, so I know where it's at and what I've got to do to get to it. But it did take me a few minutes to find it on the first go around. So the yellow here marks the search area, and you have an object scanner in these trucks, which I'll show you. So you can hit 3 and it kind of gives you a search, but I already know where it's at. So once we get there, I'll show you what that does. What that's telling you is anytime you see a panel with those X's on it like that, you can hook your winch to that panel or drive into that panel and it becomes a ramp. So this one, you got two that you need to do right here. Come up here and hit this one. Oh, and don't fall down like that. See, now we have to recover. Yep, engine stalled. So now I have to recover. So we're going to recover to the forward base, which because it's the closest. And there we are. We'll just take off again. Go back down there and finish what we're working on. You want to hit that one slow. I hit that one on fast on purpose so I can show you. The recovery thing. Because you will get into situations that you just can't get out of. Now, once you have other vehicles unlocked, if this one ends up upside down, like you'll get a crane later on in the game, you can leave that vehicle upside down and bring in a crane and right it and then go again. You don't have to recover once you have those vehicles. But because we do not have those vehicles, that was the only option that I had. So now we'll just take it nice and easy because I'm not... That one's knocked down. It moves kind of wonky up here. I don't know why. Let's try that. There we go. That was almost bad. Oh, that's going to be bad. There we go. Alright, so now we'll do the object scanner again, which is 3. There you go. That's the item you're looking for. So, there is another way to do this, but the easiest way, since you're here, is to back up to this thing. Hook your winch to it. And then drag it along. Low gear makes this a little bit easier. A little bit. Almost certainly not the way the devs intended you to do this. But it's the easiest way that I've found versus driving all the way to where the other truck's at. So when it does that, you have to get it to roll by hooking to a different winch point is all I did there, for those of you who didn't catch it. We'll get a little bit further up because the ground hardens up, and we'll reattach. There we go. And now we have a new vehicle. That new vehicle should be right here. So what we're going to do is recover.
I knew I could rely on you, which is especially great since I had nobody else to rely on. You're the only contractor in the sector. The fate of everything rests upon you. No pressure. Besides, the only thing left to do is to build the flood wall before the storm hits. First, you'll need to scoop up some concrete slabs. There should be plenty around your base. Naturally, you'll want to use the crane to move them. Then you need to drop them off in the loading area. Easy as pie, right? I could go for some pie. Anywho, the generator's in working order, so now you just need to make sure it's delivered. Shouldn't be too hard.
Okay, so this one right here is the loading zone, and that's the unloading zone. This is kind of like your storage. What we're going to do is hit 7 to put the downriggers down. We're going to start working the crane. This crane is slow, slow, slow. When all of the lines turn yellow, you can hook up to it. You use 2 to pick a different target, the number 2. We got to move 6 of these things in here. There's 3. We're going to have to move now to get the other ones. We don't need any more than this. I'm just doing it because, well, I can. Oh, let's see if I can remember here. Come through here. Now, if I remember correctly, this route fails the first time because they have to knock down the trees. Yeah, we're going to the phosphate plant. This, I believe, is where opening that second gate comes in handy. Yep. So instead of having to go all the way up and around, you can just kind of come through the gate that you opened on your way out. And I'm pretty sure this fails on the first go around because right here where they have to go around, they have to knock down these trees and that hangs them up. But then you can just re-dispatch them and the trees will already be knocked down. Zoom in here and watch this. Oh, right. It just runs the bush over. I was not remembering correctly. So it looks like I might be able to show you what happens when the route fails here, because I think this is going to. If you're convinced it's going to, you can hit L and just cancel the route and then edit it from there. We can go like this, dispatch the vehicles, and they'll restart from right there. Hopefully to go around, although it doesn't look like it. As long as this last one makes it through, we should be okay. Nope, it's not gonna. I'm gonna have to do some more doctoring on this route. That's okay. Try bringing them through right there. Doesn't look like it's as deep there, so maybe they'll do a little bit better coming through right there. You can do it. There we go. They're through. There. And even though you lay out this route, they don't stick exactly to it. You want to just make sure that you have a little bit of a buffer area, as much as you can, anyway. Right here, I don't remember having any trouble getting through there. I know. So we're going to upload this video kind of as like a test pilot. See how it does. If you guys like it, you want to see more of it, let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like button. Remember to subscribe. Every one of those actions really helps out my channel. Helps us to grow. Helps me know what direction to take the channel in. What kind of content you guys want to see more of. All of that. That way we can head in the right direction that keeps everybody happy. I really like this game. I think anybody who's played the old Spin Tires or even SnowRunner will enjoy this game. Anybody that likes kind of like the off-road infrastructure type of game will like it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think this game's still in either alpha or beta. They're still doing updates. It seems to be about every week. I think on Fridays is when I see the update notes. They're pretty responsive devs. They seem to listen to the community pretty well. I've not personally had any interactions with them, but I have seen, like I've followed along and seen where somebody will say, hey, you know, this doesn't work quite right. And then the next week they're like, hey, that's fixed. Or this is what we're doing to try to fix that. You know, but we're working on it. They acknowledge when they have a legitimate issue instead of just saying, oh, you're playing the game wrong. These guys are pretty on it from what I can gather. There is some DLC for this game. There's some mods out there. I've not done anything with the mods. I don't really know much about them.
Looks like you'll need to do some hauling. Take the cargo truck and load it up with the concrete slabs and steel beams. Then, deliver it to the phosphate plant. And if you're in the mood for extra supplies, you could plot a route between the warehouse and the forward base. It's not essential, but it'll make things easier for you in the long run.
So now it wants us to take this new vehicle. And we need to load that up with 2 steel beams and 3 of the cement. So we're going to go like this. Need 3 of these. So you just click them and then they show up. And then we'll take this 2 steel beams. Those will go in last. Exit out of there. Get into the crane. Position the crane so we can grab all of that stuff and drop it in the truck. And then we'll take that up and we'll deliver it, and that is probably where we will call this episode. And we will get it uploaded for you guys. Well, that's what happens when you're lazy. That happened because I didn't want to move the crane arm. It would be kind of cool if eventually you get the ability to daisy chain some of the stuff together to pick it up, but I don't see that becoming a thing. Now that it's all in the truck, we can switch vehicles. Push 3 to strap down our cargo, and we go to the phosphate plant. Now you want to be extra careful when you're hauling cargo like this, because if you have to recover with your bed loaded, the materials that are loaded do not recover with you. So you'll have to bring the crane down to wherever you crashed and load the vehicle back up. And well, not very efficient to have to load everything multiple times. And here we go.
The storm's coming in fast, so we need to get that flood wall up. Actually, you need that more than I do. I'm safe back at HQ, but the folks in that town aren't. So, good luck.
So that's where we're at. We are going to call it right here, right now. We'll build the flood wall and set up the other route in the next video, provided that this one does okay. Gets good feedback from the viewers, and we continue with this one. We can go back to the Captain of Industry, if everybody would rather see that one. But I thought this week we would throw in a twist and see how everybody liked it. That is the end of this one, and we will see you guys in the next one.